Detained Kingdom of Jesus Christ founder Apollo Quiboloy pleaded not guilty to a child abuse charge before the Quezon City Regional Trial Court. The arraignment at the Quezon City RTC was conducted online on Friday, September 13. Earlier in the day, Quiboloy personally appeared before the Pasig RTC and entered a not guilty plea for his qualified human trafficking cases. Quiboloy is currently detained at the Philippine National Police Custodial Center in Camp Crame in Quezon City, following his arrest in the KJC compound in Davao City on September 8. The Philippine National Police recently said more alleged victims have surfaced and bear the abuse that they experienced by Quiboloy. According to the PNP, young women known in the KJC sect as pastorals or personal assistants said Quiboloy allegedly assured them that they remained pure and intact because they had sex with the Spirit of God. Police urged more possible victims to speak up as authorities build a solid case against Quiboloy. Based on the filings, the cases against Quiboloy and the others involve only one complainant who said she suffered sexual abuse, emotional and physical maltreatment, and periods of forced labor, all under the guise of religious service. The alleged abuses, including being raped in 2014, began in 2011 when she was still a minor. Senator Risa Ontiveros, who first launched a probe into Quiboloy's alleged abuses, said the more purported victims of the televangelist are willing to testify against him in the Senate. The Philippine National Police said the camp of Kingdom of Jesus Christ founder Apollo Quiboloy filed a motion for hospital arrest in Davao City. According to PNP spokesperson Colonel Jean Fajardo, Quiboloy's lawyer filed a motion to be transferred to a hospital in Davao City before the Pasig Regional Trial Court, Branch 159. Fajardo said Quiboloy will remain in the PNP custodial facility pending his camp's motion. She added that Quiboloy will have to undergo a medical assessment to find out how complicated his medical condition is. Meanwhile, Bureau of Jail Management and Penology spokesperson J. Rex Bustinera said 4 of Quiboloy's co-accused will be transferred to the Pasig City Jail. Bustinera said the BJMP already received the Pasig RTC commitment order for the transfer of the 4 suspects, Jacqueline Roy, Ingrid Canada, Crescente Canada, and Sylvia Semañez. Quiboloy and 4 of his subordinates pleaded not guilty to human trafficking during the arraignment before the Pasig City RTC, Branch 159. They also entered a not guilty plea for child abuse charges before the Quezon City RTC. Quiboloy and the 4 others were arrested on September 8 at the KJC compound in Davao City and were detained at the PNP Custodial Center in Quezon City. Another co-accused, Pauline Canada, was arrested in July and was detained at the Pasig City Jail. An extradition request from the United States for Apollo Quiboloy may be coming soon, according to the Department of Justice. In a public briefing on Friday, September 13, DOJ Undersecretary Nicolas Felix T. said they have not received an official request so far, but Justice Secretary Boying Remulla knows that the request from the U.S. is coming. T. said the Department of Foreign Affairs will accept the U.S.'s extradition request, then conduct a preliminary review of the request before forwarding it to the DOJ. The Justice Department will then have its own assessments before filing a case before a regional trial court.
Kami din may sariling mga pagsusuri kaming gagawin. Halimbawa, titingnan namin pag yung offense na to ay extraditable, no? Or kung sakop ito ng extradition treaty natin sa Estados Unidos. Tapos pagtapos nun, tayo ay magsasampa ng kaso sa Regional Trial Court kung saan doon ililitis kung karapat-dapat bang i-extradite ang si Pastor Quiboloy.
President Bongbong Marcos earlier committed that Quiboloy would first deal with cases filed against him in the Philippines before facing charges in the U.S. Quiboloy is facing child abuse and human trafficking cases in Philippine courts. He is also facing several charges in the U.S., including conspiracy to engage in sex trafficking by force, fraud and coercion, among others. The televangelist was officially declared one of the most wanted suspected sex traffickers by the U.S. in 2022. The Philippines will continue to defend its territorial integrity, sovereign rights, and jurisdiction in the West Philippine Sea after Beijing warned it would crush any foreign incursion into what it claimed to be its territory in the South China Sea. National Security Council spokesperson Jonathan Malaya said on Thursday, September 12, that the government's position in the South China Sea is consistent with the national interest and international law, particularly the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea and the 2016 arbitral ruling. A report by the Agence France Presse said Chinese Army Lieutenant General He Lei told journalists that Beijing hopes the vital waterway would remain a sea of peace. He also warned that the People's Liberation Army will never have any patience if the United States supposedly moves its pawns, pushes other countries to the front line, or if the U.S. ends up on the front line themselves. In response, Malaya said the Philippines does not feel alluded to as the country is not and will never be a pawn of the US. On September 11, the Philippines and China held the bilateral consultation mechanism in Beijing, where delegates from the Department of Foreign Affairs and China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs met in Beijing to discuss ways to reduce tensions in the West Philippine Sea. DFA Undersecretary Maria Teresa Lazaro and Chinese Foreign Vice Minister Chen Xiaodong had a frank and candid exchange of views about the maritime conflict. The two countries stood firm on each of their claim in the South China Sea but agreed to continue discussions on areas of cooperation concerning the disputed waters. Beijing asserts sovereignty over most of the South China Sea, including the West Philippine Sea, but a 2016 arbitral ruling has invalidated China's sweeping claims. The graft case of dismissed Bamban Tarlac Mayor Alice Guo was transferred from the Capas Tarlac Regional Trial Court to the Valenzuela City RTC according to the Capas Court's order. Based on the order issued by Capas Tarlac RTC Branch 109 on September 12, Guo's case was transferred as the town has no jurisdiction over the ex-mayor's case. The document cited Section 2 of Republic Act No. 10660 or an act strengthening further the functional and structural organization of the Sandigan Bayan as the reason for the case transfer. It explained that government officials classified as having a salary grade of 27 and above cannot be filed with a case under the jurisdiction where they held a post. This covers city mayors, vice mayors, and other city department heads, among others. The court also ordered the cancellation of Guo's arraignment and pre-trial on September 13 for her graft case due to lack of jurisdiction. In an interview with reporters, Senator Francis Tolentino said there will be a raffle on Guo's case at the Valenzuela RTC to determine the judge and branch that will handle the case. According to the senator, the Valenzuela City RTC is the nearest court where Guo's case can be transferred. He added that the court in Nueva Vizcaya is not viable as it is too far from her current detention center in Quezon City. The Tarlac court earlier issued an arrest warrant for Guo on 2 counts of graft. The case against Guo stemmed from a complaint filed by the Department of Interior and Local Government in the Office of the Ombudsman for her alleged involvement in the illegal Philippine offshore gaming operator hub in her town.